What a group. Wow. Thank you. Well, I want to thank you all. And it's a big crowd of people outside. We couldn't get them in. We'll do a bigger room the next time, but we want to thank you very much. And I want to thank a special friend of mine, Ben Carson, for the introduction, and for doing so much, does such a great job at HUD. And Vice President Mike Pence, always been there, always been there. He's a great gentleman, great man. And I'm thrilled to be here in the heart of Georgia to launch our incredible new nationwide grassroots effort. Blacks, think of this, Blacks for Trump, Black Voices for Trump, African Americans for Trump, call it whatever the hell you want, right? We like it. What do you prefer, Blacks for Trump or African Americans for Trump? I think so. Great. Well, I want to thank you, and I'll tell you what, we're doing well. We have our best employment numbers, and we're going to get into it, but the support we're getting from the African-American community has been overwhelming, and I want to thank each and every one of you for your courage and tenacity and devotion to really what's turning out to be a movement. This was like a movement in 2016. There was a movement of a lot of people. And by the way, you made up a good portion of that movement. You know that. Diamond and Silk. Oh, you're so great. So great. And I hear you knocking them dead. You're all over the place. And that's good. It's the way it's supposed to work, right? Someday you'll have to save a ticket for me. I'll walk in with the First Lady and we'll be happy. Good. Seriously, when you're in Washington, I want you to let me know. Great job you're doing. Really appreciate it. With your help, we're going to travel all across the country to every community, urban, rural, and suburban, and we're going to campaign for every last African American vote in 2020. From the beginning of our campaign, we took on the Washington lobbyists and the special interests and corporate media. See how that's working? They come at you, but you know what? We're winning. We're winning like nobody's ever won before. We took on the corrupt media. A lot of it's corrupt. And the political establishment that has failed America for decades and failed the African American community for decades. And we're starting to learn about things that we never thought were possible even. Exactly 3 years ago tonight, on November 8th, 2016, the people spoke and we took our country back, and that's what's happening. We won an extraordinary victory for all Americans, and 1 year from now, we're going to win another incredible victory, and we are going to do it with a groundswell of support from hardworking African-American patriots. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, because all together we've never done better. We've never done better than we're doing now. The Republican Party was the original home of African-Americans, and now African-Americans are returning. It was a 100-year trip, if you think about it. Paris, it was 100 years, right? And now you're returning. And coming back to the Republican Party, people forget Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. We have to remember that. And you're coming back in record numbers. We're going to make 2020 a chance. We're going to give it really something. We're going to make it a chance that you take, but it's not a chance because you know exactly what's happening. You've seen, you know, when I first came out and started talking about vote for me, that was taking a chance because I wasn't a politician. Now everything I said has come true, except more so, much more than we ever thought possible. When we look at the numbers, and we're going to go into the numbers, we're going to make 2020 a year of change in black communities all across the country. We've already been doing it. And black Americans will join our mission to protect their jobs, defend their safety, and to create a brighter future for every citizen. Together, we will make America greater than ever before. And that's what's happening right now, and you're a big part of what's going on. We're delighted to be joined by Harrison Floyd of our Black Voices Coalition. Fantastic. Where's Harrison? Where's Harrison? Harrison, you didn't even get a good location there, huh? That's why you're doing so well, actually. You'll let other people have that good location. Harrison, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Great job you're doing. And our terrific co-chairs, Herman Cain and Pastor Darrell Scott. Okay. Thank you, Darrell. Come up here, Darrell, will you please? Come up here. This guy, I watched him. He's so tough. I said, is he really a pastor? He's the toughest guy I've ever seen. He would take them apart. He would go onto the enemy territory, fake news, like CNN. He would take them apart. That was easy for you, though, wasn't it? Huh? Do you want to say a couple of words? Did you speak before? Come on, say it. Come.
God bless everybody. One thing I learned from watching this master debater was if I can't win the debate, I'll turn it into an argument. I might lose the debate, but I'm not going to lose the argument. But listen, there's a scripture in the Bible. Jesus said of Abraham, he said, Abraham rejoiced to see my day. And he saw it and was glad. And we rejoice to see this day. We see it. We're glad about it. You know, in 2015, 2016, a handful of black people were courageous enough to come forward and publicly announce their support for then candidate Donald Trump, and not only announce support, but actively stump for him. Diamond and Silk and Paris Denard and too many, I don't want to leave anybody out, but we saw the day when people would hear us. For every 5 persons that criticized us, 1 person would hear us. And that 1 person caused another person to hear them. And you know, courage is courageous. Once somebody steps up to the plate, others say, well, I can step up to the plate if they can do it. Now look at us. And you ain't seen nothing yet. This ain't nothing here. This is just a seed. Wait till we see the harvest in 2020.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Fantastic guy. He's a champ. And again, Diamond and Silk, I really appreciate you being here so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And a very special thanks to someone who has been with us right from the beginning. Katrina, where's Katrina? Katrina Pearson, and I met her, one of the first people I met. In fact, I don't think I was even running then, right? I said, I'm thinking about running. She said, that's a good idea. And I guess it was a good idea, because here we are. We go back to that beautiful Oval Office, right? And we do a lot of things for a lot of people. Thank you, Katrina. Great job you've done. Thank you. And a very special woman who is constantly defending me. Sometimes I don't need it, but sometimes I do. Alveda King. Right. She's a great woman. Great woman. And we don't forget. We will never forget. Thank you, Alveda. And we're delighted to be joined as well by former Governor Sonny Perdue. Where's Sonny? And now he's the head of agriculture. Sonny Perdue, the great Sonny Perdue. He's given away a lot of the money from China. We take in the money from China, we hand it over to the farmers, right? And Mrs. Perdue. So Sonny's now the, as you know, Secretary of Agriculture. And he's done an incredible job. Thank you, Sonny, very much. What a job. Thank you. And we have Senator David Perdue. Where is David? Where is the great David Perdue, your senator? And I just want to thank you, David. You have been so instrumental in the success of the state. We're doing well in the state. When we were campaigning, it wasn't really doing so good, Georgia, and now it's doing phenomenally well. So we want to thank David. We want to thank you. We want to thank you, great Governor Brian. I don't know, Brian's around here someplace, I think. Brian, this state's doing much better than it was when you came in, Brian. Brian Kemp, a lot better. So thank you, Brian and David and Sonny and everybody. You're incredible people. And we also have a couple of warriors that are incredible and have been right from the beginning. They help us with all of these witch hunts. Every week it's a different witch hunt. And we have Representative Rick Allen, you know? Rick? Thank you, Rick. Representative, meaning Congressman Buddy Carter. Buddy. These are people they fight. Jody Heiss, you know. Jody is great. And a warrior like a few people have ever seen before. I watched him during the Mueller hearing, and a lot of people were very, very nervous when he started going after everyone. And he's been incredible and right at the forefront. And he's also a special man. His name is Congressman Doug Collins. Thank you. Great job. Great job. Thank you. Thank you. See, they like you, Doug. They better like you. Does a great job for the state. We also have a first lady in this room. You know, our first lady, nationwide, is very popular, right? But you have a first lady in Georgia named Marty Kemp, who's really popular. Is Marty here? She's here. Good. She loves the people. She loves our state. She loves everything about it, and she's made life a lot easier because life is not so easy for Brian. He's out there working all the time. So I want to thank you, Marty, very much. Thank you very much for being here. Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan. Former terrific baseball player, by the way, for those of you that don't know, right, Jeff? Your Georgia Attorney General, Chris Carr. Chris has done a real job. Thank you, Chris. Thanks, Chris. Great job. And the Attorney General-elect of Kentucky is here. He's become a big star. I don't know. We had a great Kentucky, but we got no credit for it, you know. We had a man running for governor who really worked hard, but he was down a lot and almost won, and maybe he will. I think he's contesting it. Is that right? I think he's contesting it. But we brought him up 19 points. And then the media said that was a bad night for Trump. But we also won 5 of 6 of the races. And the first African-American Attorney General in Kentucky's history. This is going to be a star. Let's see if I'm right about it. I predicted you. Daniel Cameron. Daniel, you're there someplace? Great job, Daniel. So proud of you. Wow, he won by a lot. That was a lot of fun we had. We were there the night before, and it was some evening. But that was a tremendous record. You set a record, as you know, for what you were running for. It's been a long time, too. When I ran for office 3 years ago, I looked at the bleak, dismal record of the Democrat Party and asked the African-American community, what the hell do you have to lose, right? What do you have to lose? And I came off stage that night, and all these professional handlers, right? I don't have too many handlers, but they say, sir, I don't think they're going to like that. I said, no, look, because I read a list. Last in crime, last in this, last in home ownership, last in the economy, lowest wages, all of this stuff. And I said, wait a minute, I'm just reading off a list. And I said, wait a minute. And that's when I said it. It wasn't as part of the script. I do my best work off script. My best work. I hate to say this, I also do my worst work off script. So you never get in trouble when you go by the script, right, Paris? Now I do my best and my worst work. And it makes things very exciting, too. But that was my best work. I mean, it was a very important statement to be made because, honestly, the Democrats have let you down. And then I made you a solemn pledge that whether you voted for me or not, I would be your greatest champion. Okay? And you did. You came out. We did very well. I think we're going to do a lot better this time because now you know that we do it. Now it's not just talk. Don't forget, I came not as a politician. I came as a businessman, and I said, we're going to do things that are going to be great. Businessman / television star, right? We had a lot of fun with The Apprentice, but I said, we're going to do a job. And so, but who knew? I mean, a lot of people, they didn't know would I pick good judges. They didn't know a lot of things. Now they see what we've done with judges. We're at 157 federal and Court of Appeal judges. We'll be at 182 soon. A record. It's a record. And we were left by the previous administration 142 judges to fill. Can you imagine that? I thought they may have one. They may have none. I said, how many? Sir, you have 142. I said, you have to be kidding. You have to be kidding. 142. So we'll be at 182, 2 great Supreme Court judges. And so it's great. 2 great justices of the Supreme Court. And we're going to be looking at that whole situation with judges, because we have a lot coming due, and it's, there are some saying greatest thing you can do, greatest legacy, most important thing to do for a president. I say military and defense is always most important somehow. I would say defense. We've totally rebuilt our military. Our military is strong. We did a pretty big number on al-Baghdadi last week. Pretty big number. He didn't know what the hell hit him, I can tell you that. They came in, they weren't playing games. They weren't playing games. They came in on those brand new, those beautiful choppers, and they said, they went through the wall. They didn't go through the door, I said, why are they? Because I'm watching this like you watch a movie. Okay, like you watch a movie, and they came through that door. They boom, boom, boom. That was dynamite. Boom, they blew a hole. I said, why don't they just walk through the front door? It's called booby traps. I said, that makes sense. But you never saw anything go so quickly, and so it was violent, but it was incredible. It was incredible. He killed a lot of people. He was the founder of ISIS, and ISIS was bad, and when you saw those people in the orange outfits and the horrible things that happened to those people in the orange outfits, this is the man, and we took him out, and then we took out his second. And we've got our eye on his third. And I vowed to pour out all of my heart and soul to fight for your families and for your future. That was after, it's true, I was reading that list, that horrible list. It was 10 points. And everyone was the worst, the worst, the worst, the worst, the worst for African America. And every single one was the worst. They had statistics, and I'm saying, man, this is really bad. And we took care of it. Now you have from the worst to the best numbers you've had. For decades, the Democrats have taken African American voters totally for granted. They have. They didn't do anything for you. Democrats have run America's inner cities at every level of government for 50, 60, and 70 years. And really 100 years, I view it. I think Paris, right? 100 years. When Detroit last had a Republican mayor in 1962, it had a strong, beautiful economy. Per capita incomes were among the highest in the nation. And after nearly 60 years of really crooked Democrat rule, it's one of the poorest cities in America. It was one of the most successful cities in America. Philadelphia has a poverty rate more than double the national average. The city has had a Democrat mayor every year since 1952. 20 out of 20 most dangerous cities in America last year were run by Democrats. I'd say that's not too good. Nationwide, 58% of murder victims under the age of 22 are African American. America is waking up to the Democrat Party's record of suffering and neglect. That's what it is. They want your vote. They're nice to you just before the election, and then they forget about you for 4 years or 2 years or 6 years or whatever it may be. Then they come and they hit you hard for 3 months, and then they get your vote, and they say bye-bye. No, I see it. I mean, I deal with them all the time. I deal with a crooked politician, this guy Adam Schiff. He's a crooked politician. Nancy Pelosi should go back home to San Francisco and clean up her district. It's falling apart with drugs and with homeless and with all of the problems. It's not the same San Francisco. Of all, California's a mess, is right. Of all of the Washington sellouts that have wounded our nation, none has been worse hit than the Democrat Party's cruel and betrayal. I mean, the betrayal of the black community is unbelievable, what's happened. It's unbelievable. Democrats bowed at the feet of special interests and trapped your children in failing government schools. You look at the schools, worst schools, and we're making a lot of progress, but you have the worst schools of anybody in the country by far. It's not even close. They shipped your jobs overseas with catastrophic and horrible trade deals, which were changing around rapidly. We have to see what happens with U.S. We can't get Nancy Pelosi to approve USMCA. That's between Canada, the United States. It's a phenomenal deal for us. Democrats threw open America's borders to the deadly drugs and ruthless gangs that are all over the place, to mass illegal immigration, which hurts the black community so badly. They passed crime bills that devastated your communities, and Democrats waged a relentless assault on the cherished values that have always defined African American families. You know that. It's amazing that you've stayed so long, to be honest. It almost becomes a habit, right? It's a habit. Like it's, oh, we vote for a Democrat. Nobody knows why they vote for a Democrat. Look, if they don't do the job, you switch. You got to switch. And some progress has been made like never before, perhaps, in such a short period of time. But under this administration, all of that has changed, and it's changing even faster now. We're undoing the damage inflicted by decades of corrupt Democrat rule and creating a historic tide of new opportunity and prosperity. We've done more for African Americans in 3 years than the broken Washington establishment has done in more than 30 years. We've created 6.7 million new jobs since the election, a number that, if I would have said that to the fake news media back there, look at all those cameras. If I would have said that, now if I would have said that during the campaign, I would have been excoriated. They would have gone wild. How dare he make 6.7 million new jobs? Think of that. Since the election. Last month, the African American unemployment rate reached the lowest level ever recorded in the history of our country. How do you lose that argument in a debate, right? The African American youth unemployment, this was so important to me. You remember how high it was, 60, 70%? Has now reached the lowest number ever recorded in the history of our country, doing really well. The African American poverty rate has reached an all-time historic low, lowest it's ever been. For the first time ever, most new hires of prime working age are minorities and women. First time that's ever happened. Wages are rising really fast, up 9% since the election, a number that was unthinkable. And they're rising fastest for low-income workers. Proportionately, they're rising the fastest for the low-income worker. Who would have thought this was going to happen? Almost 2.5 million Americans have been lifted out of poverty since my election, including 150,000 African American children. 150,000. It's a lot. See, when I hear 150,000, a lot of people don't know what it means. You know what it means to me? We fill up Yankee Stadium 3 times. 3. That's a lot of people. To bring investment to neglected communities, we've cut a record number of job-destroying regulations, more than any administration in history, even though we've been here for a short while by comparison. We passed massive tax cuts for working families, saving the typical family of 4 $2,000 a year. And over the last 2 years, my administration has also provided more than $8 billion in contracts and financing to minority-owned small businesses, which alone has resulted in a minimum of 20,000 brand-new, beautiful jobs. So with us today are Kelvin and Janelle King from right here in Atlanta. Kelvin is a graduate of the United States Air Force Academy, great place, where he was also all-conference football player. Today, Kelvin and his wife, Janelle, own a general contracting business, and they're doing really well. Kelvin and Janelle, please come up. Say a few words, please. Come on up. He looks so happy. He should be happy. Hi, thank you. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Please.
Only 80 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. This is really cool, by the way. I too am a builder, right?
That's right.
You know, my wife Janelle and I, we own Osprey Management. Osprey is a general contractor, construction firm based here in Georgia. As a businessman, I started Osprey 7 years ago out of my bedroom, and we were able to eventually generate enough cash to move to the basement. So I built out my basement, and we operated out of my basement for a few years. But just last year, we were able to purchase and operate from our very own 12,000 square foot office building. Yeah, over near the Braves Stadium. We're big Braves fans. Because of the policies of this president, the economy is the strongest in my lifetime. But wait, maybe a little too strong when you consider the record low unemployment and how difficult it is to find employees. So we are hiring. Osprey is hiring, all right? To everyone listening, our future success depends on our ability to ignore the distractions we see on a daily basis. Participate in this economy. Take advantage of these policies. Don't sit on the sidelines because of emotions or feelings. Get in the game. As an Air Force veteran, I took advantage of your upgrade of VA health services, where I was able to see a private doctor due to an unreasonable appointment time. So in the words of Tuskegee Airman and Air Force General Benjamin O. Davis, Jr., the privileges of being an American belong to those brave enough to fight for them. And to you, Mr. President, thank you. Thank you for being brave. Thank you for making the black community a priority. And thank you for fighting for all Americans. And this is why you will get our vote in 2020. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. I'm very, very short. Thank you to everyone here. Thank you, Mr. President. You are awesome. And I am continually inspired every day by my husband. He does great work, and owning a business is difficult. So I'm so proud, and thank you for your policies that make it easier. So Trump 2020.
Good job, huh?
She's awesome.
Smart.
You should watch her on TV. She's on TV, so Georgia game.
Thank you, brother. That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Every day we're reversing ruinous trade policies that have shattered black middle-class citizens. After the twin disasters of NAFTA and China's entrance into the World Trade Organization, which was a horrible thing for us, 1 in 4 manufacturing jobs held by African Americans were totally gone. They were extinguished. In the last 3 decades, Milwaukee lost 27% of all manufacturing jobs. Cleveland lost 42%. Dayton lost 44%. Philadelphia lost 74%. But under this administration, the days of shipping American jobs and wealth to foreign countries, it's over. It's ended. They're coming back here. They're all coming back. It's happening. You see it. 10,000 plants are being opened in the United States, or have been since we took over. 60,000 have been lost prior to that. Think of that, 60,000. On behalf of African Americans and all Americans, we're now putting America first. It's a really good thing. We've had it. In other words, we've had it, right? We're standing up to the decades of chronic Chinese trading abuses and replacing the NAFTA catastrophe with a brand new USMCA, a giant victory for the farmers and ranchers and manufacturers from coast to coast. The do-nothing Democrats, which is what they are, I've come up with that name. I don't think they like it too much, but who cares? They're do-nothings. All they do is waste their time instead of doing things that they could. They're just going, let's impeach him. We can't beat him. How about the guy? We can't beat him, so let's impeach him. Did you see that one? He was a beauty. We can't beat him. Let's impeach him. Good idea. The do-nothing Democrats are blocking a vote on the USMCA. Nancy Pelosi, she's blocking the vote. She doesn't want the vote to take place because they would rather hurt their political opponents than help their black constituents. That's what it is. Under my administration, we've added nearly 10,000 new factories in just 3 years, and we're just getting started. Tremendous numbers are coming in. Everybody wants to be in the USA. You know, we're the hot place. We're the hottest economy by far anywhere in the world. To keep jobs in America, I withdrew the United States from the disastrous, job-killing Paris Climate Accord. The only one upset about it in the whole country was Paris Denard. I mean, Even you like it, Paris, right? Okay, he said he liked it. Good. Democrats want to invest in green global projects. I want to invest in black American communities. True. So true. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's 16. It's good. 16 more years. And they'll go back. See, I told you he wants to be a dictator. These people are crazy. To revitalize distressed neighborhoods, we created 9,000 opportunity zones. Tim Scott of South Carolina was incredible on that, including 26 right here in Atlanta. 8 million African Americans live in opportunity zones, yet every Democrat voted against giving these black citizens the future they deserve. The Republicans got it passed. Not easy. We had no votes from Democrats, and now the Democrats are saying we made a big mistake, but they're never going to admit that publicly, I can guarantee you. But they were totally against it. But we had tremendous help. I said Tim Scott was so incredible. Your senators were incredible, David and Johnny, and it's been incredible. Nobody ever thought that could happen to the extent it's happened. It has revitalized areas and created jobs like nobody thought would be possible. To draw investment to these impoverished communities, we slashed the capital gains tax and opportunity zones to zero, because people are coming in with very, what would have been high-risk money, and now they're coming in and they're thrilled, and they're coming in with more and more. Money is now pouring into, and property values have skyrocketed, coming into the communities, and values are up 20%, 25, 30%. Today, we're glad to be joined by Paul Morrow, a proud Army veteran, great person, and a small business owner in Selma, Alabama. He's building a new concrete plant in an opportunity zone in Montgomery to help support the future home of the brand new F-35 fighter jets. And I'll be in Alabama tomorrow watching a football game. That'll be a good game. That would be a good game, I think, huh? So what happened to Georgia? They're not in the game, but your team's doing well, right? Doing well. But we'll be there tomorrow. Hey, Paul, come on up. Say a few words, please. Thank you. Thank you. Great job. Please.
Oh, yeah. I came ready for this one. We're going to make it clear. I'm not a politician. I'm just a regular human being from Alabama. The beans and okra fields. And I'm going to make it clear that I got my PhD degree in the corn and okra fields in Planterville, Alabama. That's a little town right outside of Selma, Alabama. Now I'm standing in the airspace on the same stage with Mr. Donald Trump. The President of the United States of America. and see right behind us, the Stars and Stripes. The American flag. And I always thought about the Republic of which it stands. And I thank God today we are one nation. Okay, I'm gonna give you a little history here, past history of SDAC and what it stands for. It's SDAC, that stands for South Dade Air Conditioning. Yeah, this is a little community-based air conditioning repair company out of Homestead, Florida. We was originated back in 1985. And, we went through Andrews and different things here. And right after Andrew, we became known. And then I found a reason to increase, to become a war fighter. And it's the war against unemployment. So I got my 8A, back in 2009. And we grew, we went on and, we created a lot of jobs, created a lot of opportunity for other people and stuff. And, then a recession hit, You know, it was the recession didn't take no hostages. It kind of got everybody. But anyway, I found myself about $750,000 in debt. That kind of filtered on down, you know, to almost over $1 million point something. But it's found a reason, you know, through, you know, God know what he do. He forced me back to Alabama, you know, which I had a sick mother there. And when I got there, I met a former football player, Auburn football player. His name Reed McMillan. He was a fullback. But me and Reed united, you know, and we did some things in Alabama, in Southern Alabama, that's incredible. You know, we got some of the most valuable jobs ever been created down in Southern Alabama. And you know, I have to say this about Reed. I know he's gonna probably beat me up, but Reed is one of the grandsons, I think, here of one of the firefighters that had the hoses in his hand back in 1965. Now Reed working for me, and we create opportunities. You know. So that speaks volume for Reed. So by meeting with Reed, you know, I was able to bridge that gap from the $175,000 in debt on down to maybe, you know, close to a couple $1 million in debt. In 2017, I made the Business Person of the Year award winner. You know, came here in Washington, D.C. and met with, you know, the administration, same administration. You know, can't count them out. So right now, you know, we are in a different phase in life. We don't found a new era. The new administration here, you know, geared in by, you know, Mr. Donald Trump. You know, they done created what they call it, the OZ, the Opportunity Zone. And Mr. Donald Trump had one lawyer, administrative person. His name Ashley Bell. Actually didn't find a robbery to come down to Homestead, Florida, and come down to Selma, Alabama, and meet with my crew. And you know how it is when you got somebody from the White House coming to your business. You know, we was all excited, and everybody was, you know, overly excited about having one of Donald Trump's, the President of the United States, staff member to come to see us. But anyway, it happened that once Ashley got there, he was more impressed about what we were doing already. I got about 6 different millionaires hanging off my sleeve here, businesses that we done created through the, you know, through the 8-8 program and other stuff that we got them doing down there. So right now, me and Reed McMillan, yeah, we taking SDAC to the next level. You know, I just purchased the first 275 acres of a 400-acre plot in the new Opportunity Zone. And you heard the president talking about the opportunities and the resources that became available. Now, see, I hit it pretty strong, you know, through some of the help of Mr. Ashley Bell, and I done, you know, generally, you know, got the president's, one of his professional team that came down, and I done happened to master it as a small businessman in the new Opportunity Zone thing. And we done had a 100% growth pattern over the last 4 years. But projectedly now, we gonna have a 200% growth pattern over the next 18 months because of the new Opportunity Zone thing. So this is the new era for SDAC. This is the new vision. And see, I got y'all here. I can say hello to this audience, you know. I can say hello to the nation. And I know somebody in the world elsewhere looking at me today. So I'm say hello to the world. And while I got y'all here, I can't speak about the State of the Union for the nation. But I can say the State of the Union for SDAC is strong. Strong. And in my closing, I'm gonna say, God bless the United States President, Mr. Donald Trump. God bless SDAC and the new opportunities and the new job that we're about to create down in Selma, Alabama. And God bless America.
Wow. Thank you, Paul. What a job. I think he enjoyed that too, right? He's doing so well in the concrete business, I don't think he wants to be a politician. You want to be a politician? I don't think so. What a great job. Thank you very much. And that's from the heart, too, by the way. After my election, I heard from countless African-American leaders. They asked me to get involved in a cause that is dear to many of them in this room. Right now, I see so many of you that it was so important to you. That's criminal justice reform. And last year, with the help of Jared, where's Jared? He's right here. Stand up, Jared. Jared was incredible. I proudly signed bipartisan criminal justice reform into law. They've been trying to do it for many, many, many years. They never came close, including the last administration. I don't know if they tried, actually, but they did try. They didn't try even. And that's, you know why they didn't try? Because they knew they weren't going to get it. That's probably a big reason why. But it's called the First Step Act. Roll back the unjust provisions of the 1994 Clinton crime law, which was so unfair to your community, which severely and disproportionately harmed African-American people. We're also advancing second chance hiring to get rehabilitated citizens with a criminal record back to the job. One of the things we have going for us so good is the economy is so good that we're given chances today that, frankly, years ago you wouldn't have. And people are so happy, employers, people that pay the check every week, they're so happy with the result. They can't believe that they looked at it as an opportunity. Where has this been for 30 years? Why haven't we been doing this for so long? When we say hire American, we mean hire all Americans. That's what we mean. But we're also restoring safety to America's great cities. In the 2 years before my election, murders were up by more than 20% nationwide. In the last 2 years, murders in America's major cities have dropped by more than 10%. And to protect the cherished role of historically black colleges and universities, we increased federal funding for HBCUs by over $100 million. They do a great job. They do a great job, and some needed some help, frankly, but they do a great job. We can't lose them. But as we're delivering results for African Americans, the hard left Democrats have been busy doing absolutely nothing for you. For over 3 straight years, they've been obsessed with one single delusional goal: overturning the votes of the 2016 great election that we had. And really, if you think about it, overturning American democracy. First, it was the Russia hoax. Then it was the Mueller report. The biggest lie ever perpetrated upon the American people, Russia. Give me a break. Well, I felt a little bit better because I see 2 weeks ago, right? Hillary Clinton said that Jill Stein, a Greenie, she was a Greenie, it's okay, the head of the Green Party, right, ran against Hillary, right, Paris, and that Tulsi Gabbard, I don't know Tulsi Gabbard, but she said that they're Russian operatives, that they're involved with Russia. Now, I don't know either of these women, but I know they're not involved with Russia. When they said it about me, it took me 2 years to get out of it. It took them 2 minutes. People said, we think she's nuts at this point. Now Democrats and the media have launched, and they are partners, you know that, the deranged, hyper-partisan impeachment witch hunt, a sinister effort to nullify the ballots of 63 million patriotic Americans. Not happening, by the way. It's failing. It's failing fast. It's all a hoax. It's all a hoax. It's failing fast. Democrats are willing to destroy the foundations of our society and the pillars of our justice system and judicial system in their craven pursuit of power and money. Imagine if Democrats just put 10% of the energy they devote to attacking me and my administration to instead making this a better country for African American citizens. Can you imagine what they could do? They don't care, but we do, okay? That's really the truth, and I think you're learning that quickly. We're all learning that. With Republicans in Congress, we are fighting for school choice. We believe that in America, no parent should ever be forced to send their child out the door to a failing government school. Shouldn't happen. Shouldn't happen. Today's Democrat Party has no ideas about how to help black Americans. They only want to really use radical socialism, and they want to open your borders so anybody can come in. You're here, anybody can come in. And they have some bad people wanting to come in, really bad people. We've really strengthened up the borders, as you know, and if we had some help from them, we need some votes to get rid of loopholes. They have loopholes. They're called loopholes. Democrats want to give welfare and free health care to illegal aliens, courtesy of you, the American taxpayer, and the African-American community. Republicans believe that public benefits should be protected for American citizens. For the money that we spend on illegal aliens, we could completely rebuild our inner cities, repair our crumbling infrastructure, and fix our terrible public schools that are in terrible shape. But instead, Democrats want to redistribute your wealth all over the entire world to places that you've never even heard of before. Every day, Democrat sanctuary cities are releasing dangerous criminal aliens and gang members like MS-13 onto your streets. Republicans believe our cities should be sanctuaries for law-abiding Americans, not criminal aliens. Last year, Democrats even shut down the government to preserve benefits for illegal immigrants. Never have they fought that hard to do anything for the African-American community. They don't fight that way. I see them, I'm with them. They don't fight for the African-American community. They would rather have illegal aliens come in, health care, schools. I jokingly said once, Rolls Royces, every illegal immigrant gets a Rolls Royce. And the media said, Donald Trump exaggerated. He said they all get Rolls Royces. This is a lie. These people are the worst. No, they don't give them Rolls Royces, just short of a Rolls. They give them just short of the Rolls Royce, right? Democrats care more about illegal aliens than African American citizens, or our military, or citizens all over the place. They care more. Under Democrat politicians, African Americans become, and they have become, really, they've become forgotten, literally forgotten Americans. But under my administration, you've seen what we've been able to do because they are forgotten no longer, right? Radical Democrats are waging an all-out assault on the historic values and traditions of the black community. They're trying to attack law enforcement heroes and keep us safe. These are people that keep us safe. There's nothing wrong with that. We want safety. Because when I read that list of 10, one of the things is it's the most unsafe. The African-American community is so, the numbers are different like you wouldn't believe. We want to be safe. They want to take away your right to self-defense, crush your religious liberty, and silence your pastors. Pastors are being silenced, but not any longer because of the Johnson Amendment. The Johnson Amendment. They're allowed to speak to you now. They're allowed, your pastors and your ministers are allowed to speak to you now without retribution. African-American churches have always been lifted up, and they've always been really the conscience of our nation. Yet Democrats now want to drive faith out of the public square and attack Christians and other religious believers. That's what they're doing. They have gone crazy, okay? They really are. What's going on out there is crazy. As your president, I will always cherish our nation's religious heritage. We will always cherish that. It means so much. You know, when you look at things that are happening, a lot of it is because they've lost that incredible grounding, especially the vital and indispensable role of African American churches in our society. Incredible. We have some ministers here and some pastors here. You heard from one. He's an incredible man. But we have some ministers, pastors, and others that are people that we all look up to, and their voice has to be heard. They have to be heard. They're trying to take that voice away. It won't happen. Don't worry, it won't happen. So don't worry too much about it. Don't lose any sleep tonight, okay? Virtually every top Democrat also now supports late-term abortion, ripping babies straight from the mother's womb, right up until the moment of birth. And then you have the governor of Virginia, where it was after birth. After birth. That's evil. That's why I've asked Congress to prohibit extreme late-term abortion, because Republicans believe that every child is a sacred gift from God. Okay? To every African American across our land, you don't have to choose to leave the Democrat Party, because the Democrat Party already left you a long time ago. It's true. They left you. Well, they come back before elections for a few months, but that's about it. If you don't want to have radical socialism, that's what you don't want. If you don't want open borders, if you don't want out-of-control political correctness, how about some of this political correctness, right? If you don't want your jobs going overseas, if you don't want your children trapped in failing schools, if you don't want liberal extremists to run your lives, then today we say, welcome to the Republican Party. Honest Abe, right? Honest Abe. Now and always, Republicans are the party of Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, the Civil Rights Act, and hardworking American patriots of every race, religion, color, and creed. The Republican Party knows that our rights, liberties, and freedoms are given to us by the hand of Almighty God. Guided by that immortal truth, Republicans are fighting for incredible jobs, great schools, safe streets, fair laws, and a government that listens and answers to you, the American people. When we talk about draining the swamp, we are talking about replacing the corrupt bureaucrats and politicians, crony lobbyists, brought and paid for, and you know that. They bring them in and they pay for them. They're disgracing, really, a class of people and a group of people, and I'm not talking African American, I'm talking all American. They're disgracing us as a nation. They've dismissed you, they've hurt you, and they've sabotaged you for far too long. It's time to see what's happened over the last short period of time. We have a lot of great commentators in front. We have a lot of commentators actually in the back. We have a couple of really great commentators in the far back. What the hell are you doing back there? But they're great, and they get it. They know what's happening. And some of them didn't get it right at the beginning. They weren't, but they've seen what has happened over the last 3 years. But their day is over. Your day has just begun, just begun. That's why we need everyone in this room and every like-minded voter nationwide to take part in our righteous campaign to extend blessings of all America to all of our citizens. We need you to share our message of jobs, opportunity, and freedom with everyone you know. We need you to reach out to your friends, your neighbors, your churches, and your communities, all of your communities, including your religious communities, which we're bringing back into our nation. We need them. So much has gone wrong. We need them. Tell them to judge us based on that and all that we've achieved. And we have achieved more than anybody has achieved ever in 3 years. And it hasn't been done on the smears from the media or the lies from those defending the old status quo. They want to defend it. They're defending their turf, but their turf is no good. Tell them that you are fierce and brave and proud and independent, black voices for Trump. No, I can't tell you how much this whole community has grown. I don't know, Katrina, if I could have said that maybe 3-4 years ago. People would have, let's say it would have been a slightly smaller audience, but people are seeing what's happening. By the way, go out and join the Republican Party. Sign up. Join the Republican Party. Get all your friends. Go and join it. We're going to do things that nobody ever dreamt of for your community and for the country, but for your community. With your help and your devotion, America's future is really ours to build and build upon and make even greater than it is right now. America's destiny is really ours to reach. America's glory is ours to achieve. When my administration and millions of black Americans join forces, we will be a totally unstoppable force. That's what's going to happen. And remember, the Democrats have let you down. You know, we're talking about over 100 years. We'll deliver a future of justice, opportunity, prosperity, and dignity to every man, woman, and child all across this incredible land. Our nation is thriving like never, ever before. We've never had an economy like this before in our history. And it does make things easier. But if our opponent had gotten in, this economy, instead of being up 60, 70%, would have been down 60 or 70%, and that's guaranteed. But we're thriving like never before, and ladies and gentlemen of the African American community, I just want to tell you very, very strongly, the best is yet to come. Really, best is yet to come. So I want to thank all of my friends, I have a lot of them, that came to see. I want to thank the people outside that couldn't get in because next time we'll do a much bigger room. Next time we're going to do a much bigger room. But you're very, very, very special people. And I want to congratulate you all because what has happened in the last 3 years for the black community, the African American community, has been really incredible. And it is my honor to have been there with you. And we're going to work together. And we're going to achieve together. And we're going to succeed together. Thank you all very much. Thank you. It's a great honor. Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless America. Thank you.